Hello, champions. Welcome back to another Read Aloud. We're still reading Monday with a Mad Genius, and we're on chapter 9, The Smile. But before I read this chapter, I wanted to let you know that I apologize for not uploading any videos for the last couple of days, and I wanted to share why I haven't done that. So the last few days, I felt very sad, and I want you to know that it's okay to have such feelings. There have been things going on in our country, in our community, in my own life that have caused me some sadness, and I just needed a little break. So I took a little break and I didn't upload any videos of me reading to you guys. I'm back at it and we'll continue, but I think it's important to know that it's okay to feel sad. It's all right to be down and kind of be in a funk, right? In a funky mood. If you're not feeling well, if something is bothering you or your heart is aching, something sad has happened in your life, know that you can talk to somebody. Most teachers at your school are there for you to be able to reach out to and chat with. Everybody that's in my classroom, that comes in and out of my classroom, students I've had before, I want you to know that I truly love you guys, I value you guys, and I'm here for you. If you'd like to swing by my room and chat, something's bothering you, know that I'm there and I'm willing to listen. I'll help in every way that I can. And if that doesn't work and you still feel down, we'll find help. It's important to reach out to people when you need help. When I was in college, I worked in a gas station, and my grandfather had just passed away, and I was very sad about it. And a professor came in and he asked why I was sad. I looked down and I let him know that my grandfather had passed away. And he said, "Have you gotten help? Have you talked to anyone?" And I said, "No." And I'll never forget what he said. He said, "When our cars don't work, we take them to the body shop or the auto shop and they fix them for us. If something else is not working, we find a spot to get them fixed. But when our hearts are broken, why do we not reach out or seek help?" And he said, "There's people who can help you, and they've been trained, and you can talk to them. If you're, just grieving somebody you've lost, or if something's bothering you, or anything that's causing you pain or sadness, reach out." So I'll never forget that professor's advice, and I took it, and it helped. Like I said, lately I've been really down, and I found my circle of friends that I get to go talk to, and they make me feel better. So I encourage you to find help, to get help, and to know that there's plenty of people out there willing to help. And know that it's okay. I think that's the most important part. There are days that we're just sad, and it's all right. There are better days ahead too. And sometimes they seem really, really far away. But we can get there. So reach out, get help, talk to somebody, and look forward to the better days. And if it just feels like it's impossible, there are many, many resources that could come in handy. So talk to somebody about finding out what those resources are. Okay, that's it. I love you guys. And now I'm going to begin chapter 9, The Smile. Whew. Try not to cry while I do it. At first, no one spoke on the trip back. It was as if they didn't want to break the spell of joy that had settled over them. Even though Jack was bumping up and down in the cart, he could still remember the feeling of flying smoothly through the sky. He could feel the wind rustling his long feathers. The cart passed through a gate in the city walls. As they started through the streets, Annie broke the silence. "So if fame is not the secret of happiness," she said to Leonardo, "then what is? Do you think it could be flying?" Leonardo thought for a moment. No, the secret of happiness cannot be flying," he said. "Why not?" asked Jack. "Because flying is a great dream that no one but us will ever realize," said Leonardo. "Surely happiness cannot only be for us." "True," said Annie. "So what do you think the secret is?" asked Jack. Leonardo was silent. Then he sighed. "I must think about it. he said. Jack looked worriedly at the sky. The sun would go down soon. The night would come. According to the rhyme, they were supposed to leave when the night bird sang its song. How long do you think it'll take you to think about it? Jack asked. I don't know, said Leonardo. Right now, all I know is that I must hurry to meet with my model. She is already unhappy enough without me being late. Why is she unhappy? Asked Annie. She will not say, said Leonardo. Perhaps she is tired of posing for me. For 3 years she has been sitting for her portrait. Whoa, that's a really long time, said Annie, especially if you're just sitting. Yes, it is, said Leonardo. Lately she will not even smile. She only stares at me sadly. I have tried hiring singers, musicians, and jokesters to amuse her, but nothing helps. We were just talking about sadness, and I guess she's sad. The model is sad. I wonder what they'll do to cheer her up, or what makes her feel better. Okay, let's read on. Maybe you shouldn't meet with her today, said Jack. He didn't want Leonardo to lose his good feelings from flying, and he wanted him to spend time thinking about the secret of happiness. No, I must, said Leonardo. The light is perfect today. Late afternoon is the best time for painting a portrait in my courtyard, when the sunlight is golden and the shadows are beginning to fall. Shadows were falling as the white horse pulled the cart into Leonardo's courtyard. A young woman was standing by the studio door. Lisa, called Leonardo. Hello, Leonardo, the woman said. She wore a dark gown with a silk cloth over her shoulder. A thin veil covered her long brown hair. She had a high forehead and large brown eyes. Oddly, she looked like someone Jack knew, but he couldn't remember who. Forgive me, Lisa, I am late, said Leonardo, leaping down from the cart. Will you wait for me to set up my things? Yes, I will wait, said Lisa. Leonardo hurried inside, and Jack and Annie climbed down from the cart. Hi, we're Jack and Annie, said Annie. The woman smiled at them. I am Lisa, she said. You look familiar to me, said Annie. Really? Said Lisa. Are you from Florence? No, we're from Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, said Annie. It's far away. Lisa smiled again. I like the name of your town, she said. So Lisa did smile for other people, thought Jack. He wondered why she wouldn't smile for Leonardo. Leonardo came back outside carrying a small canvas, an easel, and a paint box. He then brought out a stool for Lisa. She sat down and folded her hands. Leonardo placed the canvas on his easel. As he prepared his paints, Jack and Annie looked at his painting in progress. Nice, breathed Annie. The small canvas showed the model, Lisa. Except for her mouth, her whole face had been painted. In the background was a misty landscape with mountains and winding rivers. Leonardo picked up his brush, dipped it in a paint jar, and began to work. Jack and Annie watched closely as the great genius brushed a thin coat of green paint over the scenery. What are you doing now? Whispered Annie. I paint many very thin coats over the background, murmured Leonardo. This casts a soft green light over everything, so it all blends together like smoke, and you cannot tell light from shadow. How'd you figure that out? Asked Annie. I mean, you're always coming up with new ways to do things. How do you do that? I ask questions, said Leonardo. All the time, I ask questions. How can I paint the light? How can I capture the shadows? How can I do this? How can I do that? Leonardo stopped painting. He put down his brush and looked at Jack and Annie. His eyes were sparkling. And now, my friends, I know the secret. You do? Said Jack. Yes, said Leonardo. The secret of happiness is available to all of us, every hour of every day. Young, old, rich, poor, everyone can choose to find happiness in this way. How? Asked Annie. What's the secret? She and Jack leaned forward, eager to hear the answer. Curiosity, said Leonardo. And here's a picture of him painting Lisa. Tell me if you recognize Lisa. Let's see. You recognize that person? That painting? Curiosity, repeated Jack. He had curiosity, lots of it. Always ask questions, said Leonardo. Always try to learn something new. Ask why, when, where, what. Say, I wonder what this means. I wonder how that works. I wonder what this person is like, and that person, and that one. I am always searching for answers to things I do not understand. Me too, said Jack. And so I look forward to each new day, each spring and summer and fall and winter, and all the months and years ahead, because there's so much to discover, said Leonardo. Me too, said Annie. Through my curiosity, I forget my failures and sorrows, and I feel great happiness, said Leonardo. He looked up at the sky. For instance, one might wonder how they built that 8-sided dome on top of the cathedral. I do wonder that, said Jack. And I wonder what exactly makes the clouds change shape, said Annie. And what makes bread crackly on the outside and soft on the inside, asked Jack. Are there really just 10 types of noses, said Annie. How many kinds of ears are there, said Jack. How many kinds of feet? Hands, said Annie. Eyebrows, said Jack. Their two voices spilled over each other as they kept calling out questions. And who rings the bells in the bell tower? Why is the sky blue? Where do the city birds sleep? And why won't Lisa smile for Leonardo? Asked Annie. Jack and Leonardo looked at Annie. Then they all turned and looked at Lisa. Jack had actually forgotten that she was sitting near them. The quiet, lovely woman blinked. What? She said. What did you say? Why won't you smile for Leonardo, Lisa? Asked Annie. Are you mad at him because you've been posing for 3 years? Lisa's face grew red. She seemed to be fighting tears. She shook her head. Is there another reason? Annie asked softly. Lisa looked at Leonardo. He was staring back at her. Yes, she whispered. There is. What is it? Annie asked. I am afraid to smile, said Lisa. She kept staring at Leonardo, though she was talking to Annie. If I smile, Leonardo will paint my smile, and he will be done with me. He will sell my portrait to my family and never think of me again. There was a silence for a moment. Jack and Annie looked at Leonardo. Annie, said Leonardo, finally staring at Lisa. Tell Lisa that if she will smile, I will finish her portrait, but tell her that I will not sell it to her family. I will carry it with me wherever I go for the rest of my life, and I will never forget her. Lisa, Leonardo says that, started Annie, but Lisa stopped her. I heard, she said softly. Then she smiled. It was a faint smile, but a mysterious and beautiful one. Her face glowed in the golden light of the late afternoon. Ah, gasped Leonardo. Keep that smile, he said. He kept staring at Lisa as he dipped his paintbrush into the jar. Please keep that smile, Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa? Jack had heard the name Mona Lisa before. Lisa kept smiling. Leonardo painted. Hey, listen, Annie said to Jack. Jack listened. He heard a bird whistling and trilling. A plain brown bird was singing from the rooftop over the courtyard. That looks like the bird you let out of the cage, said Jack. It is him, whispered Annie. He is a nightingale, said Leonardo, keeping his eyes on Lisa. A beautiful singer, yes? Annie smiled at Jack. Time to go, she said. Remember Morgan's rhyme? Help the genius till the nightbird sings its song. Right, said Jack, sighing. Goodbye, Leonardo. Leonardo didn't seem to hear him. Goodbye, Lisa, said Annie. Lisa turned her eyes to look at Jack and Annie. Bye, she whispered. Then Leonardo turned and looked at them too. Yes, goodbye, my friends, he said. Come again soon, please. You have been a great help to me today. You helped us too, said Annie. Leonardo bowed to them. Then he turned back to his work. He painted Lisa's smile as the nightingale sang on. The bird's song grew louder and louder until it seemed to fill the Florence night. And that's the end of chapter 9. Chapter 10 is called Questions. And we will see what that's all about. It's interesting that chapter was about somebody feeling sad and about happiness and what happiness is and how we all can get happiness, right? How can we have that? What's the secret to happiness? I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you next time. I will try not to take as long. I hope you guys have a fabulous night. Sleep well. Sweet dreams. Good night.